Hi, Marms here, and welcome to episode 4 of the Sprint 45. Now, this time around, we are going to look at the strategy and RPG games on Intellivision. Now, the RPG space in particular is very, very good for Intellivision, with Utopia, with Tower of Doom, and with Thunder Castle. All of these games are very good examples of some of the innovation that Intellivision was able to bring to the RPG space. Now, I gotta say, it was very innovative at the time, and this was one of the things that set Intellivision apart, was this ability to provide these sorts of strategy experiences which were beyond a typical video game. In addition, we have a lot of the board games here in this one, and board games were foundational for Intellivision because they believed that games such as chess, checkers, and backgammon and Reversi were games that people knew and could immediately pick up and play, which they thought would help get people interested in the Intellivision. Now, I've got to say they play fair games, but not always the best. So let's take a look at the strategy and RPG games on Intellivision Sprint.
Bowling, which actually used to be called PBA Bowling, was one of the first video games to feature the PBA branding. This was actually written as one of the first Mattel developed games in-house, with Mike Minkoff and Rick Levine from the handheld division doing the programming. The game is a realistic bowling simulation that supports 4 players, 9 ball weights, and 10 alley speeds. To me, the game suffers from slow pacing, which hurts the gameplay a lot. However, the homebrew community has been working and improving bowling for a long time, which has led to Striker Super Pro Bowling, which moves the game along at a much faster pace and features a number of quality and life improvements that make the game far more fun to play. Deep Pocket Super Pro Pool and Billiards, or Deep Pockets for short, was the last game completed for the Intellivision. This game presented a difficult programming challenge because of the need for more than 8 objects to move on the screen at the same time. The solution created a flicker that Mattel marketing just hated, but it was the only way forward to solve the issue. By the time the game was completed, INTV was in trouble and could not pay Real-Time Associates for the finished game. Back in 2019, the Blue Sky Rangers offered an official cartridge release of the game. Now, the game plays pretty well, and unless you're an Intellivision fan, you probably have never seen this one before, but I gotta tell you, it's a pretty cool game for what could be done on the Intellivision. Bet you can't guess that Pinball for Intellivision was in development far longer than any other Intellivision title. That's right, in development for over 2 years, Pinball had a number of issues with the ball motion during development. Once those ball motion issues were resolved, the game was expanded from its initial single screen scope to a multi-screen layout. Pinball is one of the best Intellivision titles from the later development stages, showing just how much Intellivision development had progressed. The game is not easy, but it's a fun experience on Intellivision that you should certainly try. Intellivision lore always reveals very strange things. While we all know the commercial board game Othello, Reversi seemed to be on every video game platform one way or another. Although Mattel had licensed the name Othello for use, the trademark search discovered that the original name Reversi, which is the classic name that the game is known by, was never trademarked. So Mattel decided to trademark it and go with that instead. With 3 difficulty levels, the game is challenging on the hardest level, but can be beaten. The ability to change the board size and play the computer are standout experiences as part of this game. But as with many of the other board games for Intellivision, I played this one quite a bit and I always loved it. Thunder Castle was the product of an internal contest for the best game idea with a magic theme. Connie Goldman was the winner of the contest, and Thunder Castle was the original name for her game called Magic Castle, which started development back in 1982. The game experienced a number of delays as Connie was tasked to work on other projects, while Magic Castle was being worked on as sort of a background project when she had some extra time. David Warhol came in and helped Connie finish up the game, which uses a number of animations that were originally developed for Magic Castle, but were actually being used in a game for IntelliVoice that was under development called Quest, which was later abandoned. Arriving in 1986 from INTV, this is another game that came after the original Intellivision lifespan, and it is of exceptional quality and shows what RPG titles of the time could be like. Only half completed when Mattelelectronics closed its doors, this game was intended to be another advanced Dungeons & Dragons, but when INTV expressed a desire to release the game, they were in no position to pay for the Dungeons & Dragons license, so the game was renamed Tower of Doom. The game is a bit of a dubbed-down experience, but it provides a lot of solid gameplay. Many of the concepts in this game are present in multiple dungeon crawlers of today, for example. This is a fun example of how advanced Intellivision can be, and it is one for sure you should play if you like RPG titles. One other fun fact about Tower of Doom is that Mattel had planned both an M Network version for the 2600 as well as an Apple II version, but neither were ever started or ever materialized. Triple Challenge was designed to be a value packaged offering with updated versions of chess, checkers, and backgammon combined into one package with a lower price tag. Now, originally it was actually supposed to include Reversi, making it Quadruple Challenge, but the fact that chess required an additional 2K of RAM led to the need for additional 2K of RAM on the cartridge, making the cost even higher for a bigger ROM. It was decided to cut Reversi to bring the cost down. The cost for the 2K RAM almost torpedoed the cartridge from actually ever even making it to market. The game uses code from the previous released versions of the game, and it includes some fixes and some quality of life improvements over the original version, as well as the stripping of the branding from the games. Utopia, created by Don Daglow, is a simulation tour de force on Intellivision. This simulation game is often called the precursor to Sid Meier's Civilization. Well, it did sell an impressive 250,000 units, which for a strategy game was quite a bit. Mattel Marketing preferred to push the visually appealing titles over the slowly moving simulations. The game was a breakthrough for sure, and harkens back to some of the Chris Crawford titles developed by Atari on their home computer line in later years. Many of the ideas and concepts of this game are still being used today. The game is remembered by Intellivision enthusiasts as one of the console's true gems on the platform.
That's it for episode 4. Now, one of the things I do think is interesting here was the decision to use the INTV version of Triple Challenge, which included the chess, checkers, and backgammon all on one cartridge. That was kind of designed to be kind of a value save option to repackage those in such a way that they could actually sell them again and make more money, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing. But now today, it is a really good way to present these games, that's for sure. In addition to this, I gotta call out the pool game. Now, the billiards game is not easy, but it is pretty good. And it's probably one you haven't seen before, but it is a Blue Sky Rangers game that I do think is pretty darn good and definitely one you should check out. Along with all of these, however, Thunder Castle and Utopia, two really great games and very innovative in the RPG space. Many of the concepts that are in some of these Intellivision RPG games are concepts that actually carry forward into the RPG games of today, which is very interesting and a great footnote on how innovative Mattel Intellivision was at the time. Now, In episode 5, we will look at the fun that's left over. Yes, these are what I call classic fun, which are some of the Intellivision hits that we haven't talked about yet. My name's Marbs. Comment in the comments below. Tell me about your Intellivision journey. What games have you played? What do you like? What don't you like? And tell me that you like this Intellivision content, so I'll do more of it. And if you need to buy an Intellivision Sprint, you can do so in the link in the description, and the channel gets a small commission for your purchase. My name's Barbs. We'll see you next time.